at the end of the day, what are we really looking for? I mean, yeah, it's nice to have some money in the bank, but we want to live a full, complete life with as much good things going on in our life as possible. Some of them are general, some of them are specific to real estate, but there are 9 things that I don't think anybody would argue are a bad idea to do. Everybody, welcome back to Agent Investor, the only brand that helps real estate agents get off the real estate roller coaster by combining being an agent and investing to become financially free so that you no longer have to worry about the market. You no longer have to worry about whether that buyer is going to end up buying the house this year, next year, or the year after. You no longer have to worry about interest rates. You no longer have to worry about whether or not you're going to close a deal this month, because when you're an agent investor, you've got monthly passive income coming in each and every month, and you're generating big chunks of income by doing flips, either doing them on your own or partnering with us. I'm your host, Tom Caffarella. I fixed and flipped over 1,500 homes. I've got a reasonably good size rental portfolio, which supplies me with that monthly income each and every month. And I've done this all by following what I call the agent investor model. The agent investor model has 3 steps. Step number 1, sell real estate for a living. Keep doing what you're doing. Step number 2, find sellers who want to sell their properties and offer them a cash offer. 20% of those sellers are going to want to take the offer. They're going to want the convenience of a cash sale. You can either fix and flip those houses yourself or partner with us. Our average flip profit that we split with agents is 80 grand. So 40,000 of that on average is yours. And step number 3 of the agent investor model is to take that 40 grand, take those big chunks of income, and invest it in long-term passive assets. We actually had this week specifically some really big 6-figure Asian partner deals. Of course, that's not necessarily the norm. The norm is somewhere around 80 grand. And of course, we do some deals that are less than that. But this week in particular, we closed on a few. I'll be posting about those on my social media account. For those of you who don't follow me yet on social media, I post a lot to my Facebook account. You can find me and follow me at Tommy Caffarella, TOMMY CAFARELLA. So if you guys like what you hear on the podcast, and you want to hear more, you want to get more daily updates from me about how to become an agent investor, how to find deals, how to invest in passive assets, and get off that real estate roller coaster, make sure that you follow me on my personal account at Tommy Caffarella. All right, today I've got a really good topic that actually one of our community members suggested that I do. And it's one that I don't really think too much about. And again, sometimes I've got a blind spot to what's important when it comes to investing and becoming an agent investor, because some of the stuff I do and I've done for so long and some of it's automatic. So today we're going to be talking about some of those automatic daily habits, 9 daily habits that I personally do, and I suggest that you do, that will not only change your net worth, have you do more real estate sales, have you do more investing deals, grow your net worth, but actually make you feel better on a day-to-day basis. Because really, at the end of the day, what are we really looking for? I mean, yeah, it's nice to have, some money in the bank, but we want to live a full, complete life with really like as much good things going on in our life as possible. Make our days as fun as possible, as enjoyable as possible, all while building our net worth for ourselves and for our family. So I'm going to talk about 9 things that I do, and not just me. I mean, the 9 things that I'm going to be talking about are things that I think a lot of people that are high achievers do. These are 9 things that I specifically do, and 9 things that are specific more to real estate than, some of them are general, some of them are specific to real estate, but there are 9 things that I don't think anybody would argue are a bad idea to do. And, talking about habits, they say that I think they say it takes about 21 days to form a habit. We get in good habits, we get in bad habits. It's not the way that we are designed. I talk a little bit about like how humans are designed and what we're basically born for and bred and all that good stuff. Um, we want to be in habits. Our minds, our bodies, everything about us wants to be in habits, and we either get in good habits. And when I say good habits, it's just like productive habits, like habits that are going to help us. Or sometimes we get into bad habits, and bad habits, of course, like don't help us. So I'm going to talk about those habits. I did post a quote, and this is really true. The quote, I don't even know the person, but I saw it. Matthias Alexander. It's their quote, and it says, "People do not decide their futures; they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures." I'm going to say that again and give my little take on it. But people do not decide their futures; they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Yeah. Why this is important as a general kind of concept is that a lot of times when we think about like changing our lives, we think about um, a big change that's like a one-time thing, or a change where we give a lot of effort for a small period of time, when in reality, big success is always about small things, little things that add up exponentially over time. They're not these big Herculean days. You don't need to work, 20 hours. Like I absolutely can't stand the self-help stuff when you get somebody who says, don't sleep, um, you know, lunch is for wimps, whatever. Like that stuff is nonsense. It goes on the principle that like you need to work a million hours a week. You need to put this big push of time, when in reality that's not important. What's important is that you do it consistently, day in and day out, and you're doing the right things day in and day out, and they don't have to be big things. They just need to happen consistently. So consistency is the key. So let's talk about these 9 things that change my life, that I do on a daily basis. And let's talk about why they're important, and how you can implement some of this stuff. All right. So number one thing that I want to talk about is something that starts before the day even begins, which is getting to bed at an early hour and waking up at an early hour. Now, this is going to sound like an obvious statement. I'm sure you can kind of all agree to this, but there isn't really a lot that happens after 9 p.m. that's really good for you. It's really super productive in general. Um, After 9 p.m., people tend to do things that not going to help them. Like if you think about like over the course of your life, what you've done between say like the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. and 12 a.m., or 9 and 11, or whatever those few hours are, most of the time we're not doing anything to really help our cause. And it doesn't exactly have to be 9 p.m., but if at all possible, and a lot of us have control over this, some of us don't. I get it. We're on different schedules, but if at all possible, you want to get to bed early. Okay. You want to get to bed early for 2 reasons. First, you want to get enough sleep. Sounds simple, but a lot of us don't get enough sleep every day. Everybody needs a little bit different amount of sleep. Some people need 5, 6 hours. Some people need 7, 8 hours. Whatever the amount of sleep that your body needs, we're all a little bit different in that area. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, and make sure you're getting to bed at a time that allows you to get enough sleep. And part number 2, to wake up early. So getting up early is definitely a millionaire habit. Now, when I say get up early, again, it's all relative. For me personally, that means sometime between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Usually my alarm's going off at maybe 5 o'clock. and I'm out of bed 15, 20, 30 minutes later. Now, for some people, that might not even sound early. For some people, that might sound really, really early. Regardless of how it sounds, getting up early allows you to do step number two, which I believe is essential to building net worth. It's essential to your life, which is working out. Now, again, I know when I talk about daily habits and stuff, not everybody can do the exact, you know, things that I'm talking about the way I'm talking about doing them, but you'll kind of get the idea of all this stuff. So for me, working out every day is a must for a million and one different reasons. Working out, it gives you clarity, allows you to think a little bit better. It makes sure that you remain healthy, right? Over the long haul, like being out of the hospital as much as possible, um, not having health issues, feeling good about yourself, having energy, right? Like literally when you go to the gym and you leave, for most people, if you've done, a relatively hard workout, you've got your adrenaline going. You actually typically have a lot more energy leaving the gym than you did going in. And I believe as much as you can control it, it makes sense to do that first thing in the morning. The reason I believe it makes sense to do that first thing in the morning is like all hard things. You want to do the hard things earlier in the day. You want to do the things earlier in the day that may get away from you, that may become hard, right? It's a lot harder after a long day of working and you get home and maybe it's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock to then go to the gym. The other problem with going to the gym later at night or later in the evening in general, is that it might keep you up later, right? So again, everybody's different there. But I believe that in order to have the energy that you need to give great output, you need to go to the gym. Now, whatever that workout is for you is a little different. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be something that you dread. In fact, it shouldn't be something that you dread. It should be something that you like doing to some extent, that you get motivated for, that you complete, and then you're done. Hopefully you're done by 6:30, 7 o'clock, right? And now you've already got that done out of the way. All right. Number three, do your revenue generating activities every day and ideally as close to early as possible. So now for agent investors, the number one revenue generating activity that you can do is to set seller appointments. And I talked really briefly about the agent investor model. Agent investor model is sell real estate for a living, find fix and flip opportunities to either partner with us on or to do them on your own, and then invest that capital that you earn from doing those activities into long-term passive assets. Now, how you can pretty much guarantee that you can do all of this and have a high degree of success is to figure out a strategy that makes sense for you in order to generate seller appointments. Now, when I say that, it's funny. Almost everybody immediately says, well, I don't like cold calling. Well, then don't do cold calling. There's a million and one different ways to generate seller opportunities, to generate investor deals that don't involve cold calling. In fact, for most people, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But you want to spend time doing that number one revenue generating activity as early as possible and daily. I mean, can you take a day off here and there? Yeah, you can take a day off here and there, just like the rest of the habits, just like the rest of the habits that we have that we're listing. Yeah, you could sleep in one day, you could go to bed one day late, whatever. But ideally, once you get in the habit of doing something, you're not going to want to get out of that routine. Like I've been going to bed at about 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10 for 10 years. And I actually don't like staying up later than that anymore. Like I don't enjoy it. I only do it when I absolutely have to. So for me, all of these habits, like if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I don't feel great. Actually don't feel good if I don't go to the gym in the morning. So I I only skip the gym when I have to. And I try to make it a habit to not have to do that. Um, so do your highest generating activity as early as you can. Now, for everybody, that could be a little bit different. I gave the example of seller lead generation for agent investors. For those of you, by the way, who are looking to go on more seller appointments and generate more listings in 2025 and beyond, make sure that you look into my seller team. So we're actually giving away, well, not giving away, part of our program. We give one seller appointment per week to the people that are on our seller team. To learn more about that, go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com and jump on my weekly call. Again, that's www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. If one of your goals is to get more listings, to talk to more sellers, and getting their living rooms every week, again, my seller team will allow you to meet with one seller minimum per week, just by being a part of my seller team. And again, to learn more about that, just go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. But again, getting back to the habit specifically, whatever the habit is that's going to generate you the bulk of your income, do that revenue generating activity as early in the morning as possible. Again, whether that is, so for me, actually, speaking of that, I do a ton of social media every single day. Well, I shouldn't say a ton. I spend probably a half an hour on my social media every single day, and it generates for me agent partnership opportunities. And if you go again to my Tommy Caffarella profile and you look at what I post and you look at how I post and you look at how many followers I have, I spend time doing that on a daily basis. And you'll rarely find, like, talking about habits, and I guess, the proof is in the pudding and you guys can see exactly what I do. You'll be able to see by looking at my social media account that I routinely post on a daily basis. And I routinely post. It's a revenue generating activity for me. And I do it every day. And I try to do it towards the beginning of the day because I know that that's one of my most important, well, probably is my most important task. I shouldn't say one of my most important tasks, because my goal for the year is to do 100 partnership deals with agents. And by the way, for those of you who don't know about our agent partnership program, make sure that you jump on our call at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. If you have any property that needs work, you have a seller that's interested in learning about what a cash offer would be, and you want to get the benefit of partnering with us on a deal if they accept our offer, make sure that you know everything about our program. Again, the average profit that we split with agents is 80 grand. We had two just this weekend that went over 100,000. One that was actually well over 100,000. Two family in Boston that we just completed. So anyways, getting back to the millionaire habit. So we've talked so far about going to bed early, getting up early, right? Going to bed early, getting up early. It's all part of the same thing, in my opinion. Get to bed 8, 9, 10 at the latest, in my opinion, to make sure that you can get up early in the morning and ideally go to the gym first thing in the morning. Then when you're done going to the gym, do your highest and best work, your revenue generating activity. And by the way, I don't care what anybody tells you, that always needs to be your first priority, right? Like answering a text, answering an email, worrying about a closing. Like, I'm sorry, no, that is not your highest and best use of your time ever, right? So make sure that you're doing the revenue generating activity first and first thing in the morning. All right. Now that you've done that, number 4 would be to plan your day and order the bullet points, what you plan to do that day from most important to least important priority. Okay. What is going to move the needle most in your business from most important to least? In a lot of cases, we overestimate what we can accomplish in a day. What that leads us to do in general, and this is a human thing, human habits. Human habits are to avoid pain and go towards pleasure, right? A lot of times we avoid pain. We avoid the hardest task that we should be doing that day. and we do an easier task. We say, okay, I want to do these 5 things in a day. It's going to be easiest for me to answer my emails and answer my text messages. So I'm going to do that first. Then all of a sudden, you go down a rabbit hole and you've only done that. You've only done the least important tasks in the day because the day gets away from us. You can always add more things to your plate, right? If you list it off, hey, I want to do these 5 things in a day, you can always do a 6th if you've done 5. But if you go out of order and you do a low priority task first, there's a chance you won't get to the high priority task. So make a list of the things that you want to accomplish. Don't spend, tons of time on this, right? Brainstorm 5-10 minutes. It's all it takes. What do I need to accomplish today? Write down those things, however many things you want to get done. And then most importantly, order them in the priority that you need to do them. Most important to least. And then start to knock them out. All right. All right. Number 5 out of 9 daily tasks. Number 5 is an important one. Get to your emails last. Right? Most of us wake up, we check our emails, and we just get into this responsive, reactionary day. You want to control how you spend your time, not react to other people. Now, I'm not saying don't look at your emails. I'm not saying ignore them. I'm not saying don't respond to people. But as agents, we all are in the habit of immediately responding to stuff, text messages, emails, etc., faster than they need to be responded to, right? There's also a lot to be said for grouping. So there are studies that show that switching tasks is inefficient. So there is time in between doing one task and another that's wasted. So for example, let's just say that you're doing your social media stuff, and then in the middle of it, you see an email pop in. So you'll respond to the email. Now you go back to your social media task. There is a time waste there of like the refocusing that, most of us don't really even think too much about, that isn't efficient. Especially with email and text messages, you want to respond to them all at once because you can bang out a ton of emails, bang out a bunch of text messages, kind of like all at once in a lot less time than it would take to just respond when they come in. And I know it's tempting to respond when they come in. I am not perfect at it. I certainly get distracted. It's easy to get distracted, but I consciously try to do the work that I need to do, the highest and most important work first, and then later in the day, do the reactionary stuff. The reactionary stuff, by the way, typically doesn't generate us revenue. It's typically stuff like you're responding to an inspection, you're replying to a loan officer, like you're doing stuff that, yes, it has to be done. It is essential, but it's not the highest and best use of your time. All right, number 6, look at your numbers daily. I am a very much converted look at your numbers person. I'm entrepreneurial. I don't like to take the time to analyze stuff. I like to be in doing mode, but I have learned by being in doing mode and not checking your numbers as often as you should, that you will always be surprised at how far off you are of actually getting to achieving what you needed to do in a day. If you're entrepreneurial, you're a little bit scatterbrained in general. And I fall into that category of like, I have energy, I want to spend it. I always end my day feeling like I did a lot. But did you actually accomplish the stuff that you need to accomplish? And numbers don't lie. So for me, like for my business, just like I mentioned for everyone who's an agent investor. The most important thing for me in my business and in my company on a daily basis is how many seller appointments do we book. So now I know that for me to do that task on a daily basis, I may or may not do it. So what I get every single day is I actually get a report of my numbers and my company's numbers from a virtual assistant. Now, some of you, will be able to hire a virtual assistant. Some of you have to do this on your own. If you have to do this on your own, you have to do this on your own. But if you're able, or you already have a virtual assistant, or you have a local assistant, or you have somebody that can do this for you, I get an email every single day that gives me the detail about all of the stats that I track. The number one being the appointments that we set, both agent appointments and cash appointments from our marketing that we do. And I get that every single day. So every single day, I know whether or not we're on track. Now, there are days where I get that report and I know something's wrong. I know something has to be fixed. I know I need to talk to somebody. I know I didn't do something, or I need to do something different. Whatever your daily stats that you need to track to hit your goals are, make sure that you're getting a report every single day. If you have to do the report yourself, all right, well, you got to do it. In the beginning, I had to bootstrap everything. I had to do everything myself. I didn't have the luxury of having a VA or, a local person helping me. So, but get those numbers on a daily basis and you'll see really quick, like, oh, are you in the habit of doing this revenue generating activities every day? You're going to find out real quick if you get that report every single day. All right. Number 7, get educated every day by listening to podcasts. Podcasting is a daily habit that is super simple, that anybody can do, that will take up none of your time, that will make you, and I say this with no exaggeration, millions of dollars over the course of your career. How many millions? I mean, it depends on what you implement, but for sure, millions more dollars than you would have made. Podcasting to me is the best way to do this. Now, you can go to conferences. That takes up a lot of time. It takes money. It's travel. I have found that good podcasts that have good content give you the same exact information that you would get going to an in-person event, flying somewhere, going to a secret behind the scenes exclusive, something that you pay a ticket price for, and it's free. But not only is it free, it's free of time spending. And it's free of time spending because you can be listening to podcasts at multiple points during the day where you would be doing nothing else. Okay, so let's talk about some of those times. It could be that you listen to a podcast while you're at the gym. It could be that you're listening to a podcast in your car. Think about all the windshield time that we all have. That should all be podcast time. Right? That's a millionaire habit that you can do on a daily basis just by driving around. You clean your house. That can be podcasting time. Maybe you walk your dog. That can be podcasting time. You do your laundry. That can be podcasting time. In my opinion, there is no reason to not, at a minimum, listen to 30 minutes of a podcast every day. 30 minutes minimum. Of course, the more that you do, the more educated you're going to get. Find people that deliver really good content, that teach stuff that you want to learn about. And in 2025, there are so many podcast options. It's crazy. And I promise you that whatever topic you're looking to learn on, there is a podcast episode out there for it. So all you have to do is find it, but more importantly, get in the habit of doing it every single day. All right, number 8 daily habit. Delegate what you can delegate as much as possible. Write down your tasks, write down what you do, and then look and say, do I have to be the person doing this? Is there a creative, free, or low cost way that somebody else can do it? As a real estate agent, just some examples of that are like putting a sign in the ground. Does that need to be you, or can a sign company do it? As an agent, are you doing your transactional work, your transaction coordination work? People that work for me that are on my team, they put a transaction coordination fee into their contracts, and they have a transaction coordinator working on it. Okay. Think about how you're spending your time and look at, do you need to be the person doing this particular thing? Now, every bigger business has different people doing different processes. So there really are almost no tasks that you are ever really gonna 100% need to do on your own. So there's nothing that you do on a daily basis that probably needs to be you, but you want to look and you want to say, what are the easiest things for me to get rid of, me to get off my plate? The transaction coordination one is like, to me, that's a simple no brainer, something that won't even cost you any money. All right. And the last one, the ninth daily task that's hugely important. And it's maybe something that other people don't talk about. It's saying no and saying no often. There are so many things in this world that are out to distract us. Okay. There are so friends, family, whatever. Now think about, like, on a daily basis, do you get asked to go to a training event at your brokerage that doesn't benefit you? You say yes, you feel obligated. Do you get asked to do anything? Like, what do you get asked to do on a daily basis that doesn't help your cause? And I promise you that in a lot of cases, if you're like me, I'm a people pleaser, like to make people happy. I don't like to say no. I get asked every single day, hey, want to grab a coffee with me? Do you know how much it actually pains me to say no, because I want to do it. I want to help the person. I want to go grab coffee. It sounds fun, but I know that that's going to take half an hour driving, an hour there, half an hour back. So I would look at that and say, how can I help that person in 10 minutes rather than 2 hours? Right. Look at everything that you do. Look at everything that people ask of you, and say no when it doesn't fit what you need to accomplish. It kind of ties in a little bit to what we talked about earlier, where you're listing off your daily tasks and doing them in an order that's priority. In most cases, right, when you look at your daily tasks and you write them down and you say, what do I need to accomplish today? Very rarely, if ever, are you going to put down, meet with a new mortgage broker who asked to buy me lunch. And that's not going to be on your list. That would not be on your list that you would ever do. Go to a mortgage broker event. Like, that would never be something that you would write down as something that's a high priority. Yet many agents do these things all the time. And it's not your fault. You may have good intentions, or you might just be being nice. You might say, hey, no, it'd be fun to do that. I want to help the person. But in the end, if you're not accomplishing your goals, you're not helping yourself. So say no more often. Be okay with saying no. It's okay to say no. It's your time. Use your time to help yourself and your family, right? And again, I'm going to review these really quick, right? So again, I know that, this is what I do on a daily basis. It's not going to be perfect. You some of you might need to tweak some of the stuff. Some of you may not agree with some of it. You might add your own things. But to me, you want to do these 9 things every single day. And I do these 9 things every single day. Go to bed at 9 o'clock, wake up first thing in the morning, go to the gym. Right after the gym, do your revenue producing activities early in the morning, first thing in the morning. Then after you're done with those, plan your day, plan out the tasks you're going to do that day and organize them from most important to least important, and then do them in order. Finish your day, or towards the end of your day, do your emailing, doing your texting. Okay. Get a report every single day on your numbers. It can be done by you, it can be done by somebody else. Listen to a podcast every day during the time that you don't have anything else going on, or that you can do it on the go. Delegate anything that you don't need to be doing yourself. And I gave the example of putting a transaction coordination fee into your agreements. And lastly, be okay with saying no. Say no as much as you can. Like if it's not on your list, it's not on your list to do that day, and somebody says, can you do X, Y, Z? Outside of like your kids or your spouse or like somebody that, you want to do these things for. I'm talking more about things that you're doing really for people that you maybe don't even know that well, or they're not important to your life, as important as your close family and friends. If a friend needs you to do something and it's important, but if it's not, hey, you want to go out like after 9 o'clock and do something that's not going to help you for the next day, get used to saying no. It's okay to say no. So I hope all of this helps you. Keep talking about the agent investor model, focusing on sellers. I talked about how you guys can get seller appointments from our team. Talked about the partnership program that we have. If you want to learn more about how to get seller appointments from us, or how to find fix and flip opportunities that you can partner with us on, make sure you jump on my next call at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com and try to make these things a habit. It'll take 21 days. You'll fall off track at some point, but the more that you can have these small daily habits, they will add up to a lot over a long period of time. Most of the stuff that we do in order to achieve big things are not doing big, huge changes, not huge things. They're little small things every single day that add up to a lot over the course of time. So thank you for paying attention. Thank you for listening. And again, you want to learn more about our partner program, you want to learn more about our seller appointments, jump on my next call at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. Thank you.